Sagicor Bank, supporting businesses with guidance and services to create the recipe for success. The Time by Sagicor Bank is
7. CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development.
Coming up in CVM News at 7 tonight, water under pressure. Dry conditions continue to challenge Jamaica's water supply. A major pipeline push. New infrastructure set to strengthen water supply in Western Jamaica. And wetlands in the spotlight. JET demands answers over development permits in Trelawney. And airfare shock. Higher Jamaica-Florida fares raise concerns for travelers and tourism. Later in the business report, Tankwell Equipment Limited, a heavy-duty...
Walking on the Word with Apostle Professor J. Andrew Scott every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m.
Hallelujah. And they have some people now where you look forward for them. They bring a joy to you. They make you laugh. When you see them, they make you give you a good vibe. And them people that you want around you, man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now follow me with your heavy self, man. Sure. Your heavy down, sir. Hallelujah.
CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by...
Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for this Tuesday, August 25, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet. Thank you for joining us. Airfares are rising, but officials say the higher prices have not yet slowed visitor arrivals to Jamaica. Experts, however, warn that continued increases could eventually impact tourism. Carla Ramdeen explains.
Director of Tourism at the Jamaica Tourist Board, Donovan White, says rising airfares have not affected visitors' arrival, with flights to Jamaica arriving about 90% full. White says high fuel prices and delays in the delivery of new aircraft are affecting ticket prices. However, he believes the higher fares will be short-lived.
They're going to be short-lived, hopefully, because there is market correction coming with the adjustment of seat loads, delivery of planes in October and November for the winter tourist season, which will ease some of the supply issues. And we hope that the elasticity in the price when that supply comes back will be relaxed, and therefore prices will come back down.
Economist Janelle McEwen explains that supply and demand is one of the reasons for the increase in prices, adding that with Spirit Airlines out of business, there's less competition to keep other airlines' prices in check. McEwen noted that the increase in prices could indirectly affect tourism.
The same aircraft flying Montego Bay to Miami, turns around and flies Miami to Montego Bay. And airlines are cautious about adding outbound capacity, are usually cautious about inbound capacity too. So, especially while they're still watching hotel room recovery, as Dr. as the director would have spoken about. So, if you look at the fact that we're still recovering from Hurricane Melissa, you can, for example, rebuild every hotel room on the North Coast, but if it costs $3,000 to get on a plane, some of those rooms will still sit empty, I believe.
Travel consultant Grace Chinloy Aurelio explains that airfare prices vary depending on where travelers are coming from. She also explains that airlines use inventory control, meaning once a set number of seats at a particular fare are sold, the prices increase. As a result, not every seat on a flight is sold at the same price.
Every airline has 15 or 17 different airfares, and what is called inventory controlled. Now, what that means is that they use a particular letter to be associated with an airfare. So say, for instance, the airfare starts at $200, and the inventory is the letter Q. Once those, say, 20 seats at Q are sold, then they increase it by way $50 or $100, and you may have to sell L. That's what they call inventory.
McEwen says this pricing method is not new and is commonly used by businesses to increase profits. However, he questions the fairness of the practice, particularly when some airlines are reporting billions of dollars in profits.
It is unethical given that most of these airlines are recording billions of dollars in profit, and these dynamic pricing, I don't think it's ever relaxed to any extent.
Meanwhile, White says the high airfares are unfair and believes airlines can do more to help bring prices down. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Unfair.
Now, efforts to strengthen water supply across western Jamaica are moving into another phase, with hundreds of large diameter pipes now being positioned for installation across Negril. The work forms part of a wider resilience project aimed at improving the reliability of the region's water network. Kevin Black has the details.
Jamaica's prolonged drought is putting further pressure on the country's water supply, with authorities already imposing restrictions to conserve available resources. Against that backdrop, work is advancing on the Western Water Resilience Improvement Project, with pipelines now being offloaded in Negril for installation. According to country manager from Vinci Construction, Timothy Delavar, the project is currently 16% complete, with 3 pipeline crews planned as construction continues across the western section.
We are currently offloading the pipeline that are to be laid for the Western Water Resilience Improvement Project, and here we are on the Negril section. That's our most western section. That will consist of 13 kilometers of 20-inch diameter pipelines.
Delavar says the pipeline work has already started in Lucy, while the Negril crew is expected to begin work in November.
We currently unloading them now here. That's about 500 pieces that we are unloading now. Another 1,500 pipes will come by the end of November. Currently, we started pipe laying crew in Lucy, and these pipes here will serve the Norman Manley Boulevard, and that crew is scheduled to start in November.
The overall project is targeted for completion by October 2028.
We are about 16% completion of the overall project. The work will include 3 pipe laying crews. At the moment, is only 1 working. 2 more will start by the end of this year, and the work is scheduled for completion by October 2028.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Now, opposition spokesman on housing, Professor Senator Floyd Morris, says it's been 4 years since apartments were sold to residents of Ruthven Towers in New Kingston, and to this day, he says they are still without proper documentation and several amenities. Senator Morris says the project, which was promoted as a new model of housing development, was done through the National Housing Trust, NHT, and the Prime Minister. He's now demanding answers from the government for perceived delays. Natasha Williams reports.
Unacceptable and disgraceful. That's how opposition spokesperson on housing, Senator Floyd Morris, has described the delays he says residents of Ruthven Towers apartments in New Kingston are faced with after allegedly waiting on their land titles for 4 years.
The homeowners have not received proper documentation for the apartments that they have purchased for $28 million for 1 bedroom and $38 million for 2 bedrooms. And I regard this situation as scandalous and disgraceful, because the homeowners in this apartment deserve to be treated better by their government.
The statements were made in a press release on Monday, in which the senator also criticizes the process as a failure on the government to honor his commitments to the Ruthven residents. Mr. Morris is demanding clear answers and reasons for the holdup.
The government has given these individuals a 6 for a 9. It's the government of Jamaica and the National Housing Trust, the legitimate owners of the land where this apartment complex was built. When will the Housing Trust and the government of Jamaica complete the amenities that were promised to the homeowners in this housing development?
On the heels of several homes being demolished in Trelawney recently, Mr. Morris also demands that the Ruthven residents should be informed on whether the delay is due to what he said could be an illegal land settlement.
Did the NHT receive approval for this housing development without proper documentation of ownership for the land? These are legitimate questions that the government and the National Housing Trust needs to answer. The residents, the homeowners of Ruthven Towers apartment deserves better.
The opposition spokesman on housing vowed to continue pressing the government and the National Housing Trust, NHT, for clarity on this matter until the residents of Ruthven Towers apartments receive the documents and amenities he said they were promised. Natasha Williams, CVM News.
Now, the opposition People's National Party, PNP, has confirmed its 6 regional chairpersons for the 2026 to 27 term, following a process in which 3 regions went to a vote and 3 were returned unopposed. The PNP says the results reflect both the strength of its internal democracy and clear consensus around its emerging leadership. The newly confirmed regional chairpersons are in Region 1, Dr. Kenneth Russell; Region 2, Omar Newell; Region 3, Dennis Gordon; Region 4, Denise Daly; Region 5, Councillor Donovan Mitchell; and Region 6, Senator Alan Bernard. Now, PNP Chairperson Dr. Angela Brown-Burr congratulated the incoming regional chairpersons.
Congratulate our new regional chairs on behalf of the entire PNP family. Whether they were elected by their peers or returned unopposed, each of them carries the confidence of our membership. Their leadership over the coming year will be vital as we build towards our 88th annual conference and prepare our organization for the road ahead.
And the lead story spoke with Denise Daly, who is the PNP chairperson for Region 4, a short while ago.
I've never heard Damien said he's going to challenge. If he did, I did not hear it. And I would not, that is my democratic right, I would not disclose that because that should be something that it is my private decision. So that is one thing I would never expose out on the street because I think that's what people want to hear. We have so much issues going on in the country. We have the people who are being bulldozed in Falmouth there, and there are so many issues. So I would not take that one on as that is so trivial right now in comparison to the children to go back to school. They can't afford the school fee, they can't afford the books, and London Bridge is burning down. So I don't have any time to be looking at leadership because we did not. I don't believe we have a leadership race and we have any problem with it.
I'm going to have to invite you back to lead story. Thank you for calling.
All right, it's now time for a break, but stay with us. CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Chicken, mega deal, super chicken.
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Before the first patty is baked, they are hands that grow what we need. For Jamaica, by Jamaicans. Through every season and challenge, they built with us. They believed. To every farmer, thank you.
Walking on the Word with Apostle Professor J. Andrew Scott every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m.
Hallelujah. And they have some people now where you look forward for them. They bring a joy to you. They make you laugh. When you see them making them be a good vibe. And them people that you want around you, man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now follow me with your heavy self, man. Sure. Your heavy down, sir. Hallelujah.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. We are continuing the news. Environmental concerns are once again taking center stage, with the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, raising questions about how Jamaica manages and protects its natural resources. The organization is pointing to the need for greater attention to environmental issues as development continues across the island, amid concerns about the potential impact on the country's land, ecosystems, and other natural resources. Renee Gordon has the details.
CEO Dr. Theresa Rodriguez Moody says stronger action is needed to ensure environmental protection is not overlooked as the country pursues development. She says one of the immediate concerns is how Jamaica's natural resources are being managed and protected.
The bigger issue is, do Jamaicans have a right to access the beach? The reality is no. And the beach access policy was really intended to ventilate this issue, address this issue of access. And while it spends a lot of time backstory and history of the issue, talking about where other parts of the Caribbean where the right of access to beaches is something that all of their citizens have, it then pulls back and doesn't really address that issue. And I think this is where we need to be really focusing the discussion. Do Jamaicans have a right of access? No. And then we are pushing for it to be a public commons, which basically is a resource that belongs to all of us, should be managed in public interest for current and future generations.
Dr. Rodriguez Moody says while the development is necessary, greater attention must be paid to its impact on the environment.
The discrepancies in the figures, the government needs to come out and not just start pushing. And I think that's from that, I think that was an interview or a speech that was Minister Bartlett had given, speaking about that, these discussion about beach access is hurting Jamaica. I think that rather than if that is hurting Jamaica, let's deal with the issue of access. But instead, what we've seen is this push about, publicly available numbers. But either way, the numbers that are being put forward in the public domain are the government numbers. It's just that they themselves have this discrepancy. So yeah, it would be great if they could resolve it and let us know, what is the actual correct figure.
And as JET continues to push for stronger environmental protection, Rodriguez Moody says there are specific measures that must now be taken.
You can get a license to privatize a beach, and then public is not available. The only way you can access that beach is if you pay to enter, or you buy a day pass, or whatever. And in many cases, people don't want access to all of these different things. They maybe just want to swim.
Renee Gordon, CVM News.
Now, Jamaica is set to adopt conflict resolution best practices in Singapore. This, according to the United Nations Convention on International Settlement Agreements resulting from mediation, commonly known as the Singapore Convention on Mediation. According to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the convention establishes a legal framework through which international commercial settlement agreements resulting from mediation may be invoked and enforced. Jamaica signed the Singapore Convention on Mediation on August 7, 2019, but it has not yet been approved. The ministry says a bill entitled the Mediation Act 2026 is reportedly before Parliament to be passed into law. Also, the ministry is advancing the development of a national policy on ADR, indicating its intention to develop mediation legislation aligned with the convention.
It is the annual convention on mediation that Singapore invite various parties across the world to examine the progress being made with mediation as a dispute settlement mechanism. Singapore has done extremely well in ADR, alternative dispute resolution, that is mainly mediation and arbitration. And I think it is important that Jamaica should see the success of the practice, not only in Singapore, but in other countries, so we can adopt the best practice here in Jamaica.
Investing in human capital is one of the most important ways the Ministry of Agriculture is contributing to the next generation. 2 new specialists were highlighted during the Agricultural Scholarship Awards ceremony for the ministry's initiative FACE Jamaica. Crystal Williams has that story.
FACE Jamaica, an initiative built by the Ministry of Agriculture created to drive food security, agribusiness development, climate-resilient technologies and export expansion, has brought together scholarships promised in 2025 to accumulate the best in agricultural human capital. Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the ministry is investing $7 billion in research capacity.
The advanced study of crop breeding and genetics, our technical officer will gain advanced expertise in molecular genetics, genomics, and plant breeding. And this will help us in a real way to support conservation and the characterization of domestic crops of economic value, strengthen crop breeding programs, and contribute to the development of climate-resilient varieties. Through the study in livestock breeding and genetics, we will see a move beyond phenotypic or physical characteristics to identify animals with desirable genetic potential.
Plans to improve livestock production, strengthen national breeding programs, and support the management and conservation of Jamaica's indigenous cattle breeds are some of the goals this scholarship will help the ministry to achieve. Minister Green says the Ministry of Education is also included in the program.
Too many of our great agricultural students find themselves in other non-agricultural areas. And as such, we want to offer the top boy and top girl for each parish a scholarship to go to CASE so that they can continue their agricultural journey and ultimately come out to serve us. Additionally, we have started discussions with the Ministry of Education around reinstating the subsidy for students who are pursuing veterinary studies.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Dermon Spence, says he believes this initiative should create a lasting impression on the human capital shortages within the ministry.
Because as it stands now, there's not a lot of support for this kind of activity. And this ministry in particular has plans. We are targeting the higher level of things and at the same time providing support at the base. All our agency heads are here sitting. We have shortages. We need geneticists. We need soil scientists. We need plant pathologists. Every component and aspect of the ministry that you can think of and its agencies require a greater level of technical input from persons who are to be trained, certified, and qualified in those areas.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Let's go now to Joel Crosskill for the business report.
Loads to share with you in the business report today. From the BR's freight to ferry, on a visit to the primary site of operations for a juggernaut of Jamaican industry, whose process to optimize island-wide haulage and heavy equipment supply chains has crisscrossed sectors and spanned 6 decades. John Ralston, Managing Director of Tankweld Equipment Limited, gets us geared in on what it means to be in it for the long haul.
Tankweld Equipment is 53 years old now. We started life as an equipment rental company backing up our steel fabrication business. And we have just grown from strength to strength. We were very involved in haulage and heavy equipment rental. And in the last 10 years, due to the need of having more trucks on the road by Tankweld Metals, we got into the Shackman dealership. Next year will be 10 years since we've been representing them here in the country and also in the Caribbean. Tankweld Metals ran a fleet of about 120 used American trucks, and reliability was a very serious concern for us. As a result, the government made a decision that you weren't allowed to bring in anything older than 10 years. So what was happening is that the trucks were becoming extremely computerized. Unfortunately, our brain drain here in Jamaica with the drivers and also the mechanics were being exported. As a result of that, we were having major problems maintaining old equipment.
The road ahead, narrow, curvy, and mountainous. To navigate in this industry requires skill, logistical know-how, and machines built for the task.
And so as a result of that, China Harbor Engineering came into Jamaica with shotgun trucks. We saw them, we liked them. We touched base with Jackman and bought for our own use. Then we asked for the dealership. They told us no. And the reason for that is they didn't want to give the end user a dealership. So as a result, we explained Tankwell Equipment is a group of companies, that we have an equipment company and we have the actual Tankwell Metals that does all the construction material. And so they liked the idea very much. We went to China, we signed a deal for 50 trucks right away. And they have been in love with us. We've been in love with them for the last 10 years, as I say. We're selling on average about 250 trucks a year, which they blew their minds with regards to what was the capability of Jamaica and the Caribbean was. And so we have a really good relationship with them. We're just under about 3,000 units when it comes for the entire Caribbean and Jamaica in the last 10 years.
Operating in an environment where remaining idle is too costly, TWE's relationship with Shackman continues to evolve.
Shackman has a dealer in Mexico that has now gone into what they call semi-knockdown. So the parts and the cabs come in containers and then they assemble the trucks in Mexico. We also do the very, very similar. Obviously not on that scale because Mexico is a much, much larger country, but we do assemble trucks here in Jamaica as well. It took us about 5 years to convince them for this to happen. The trucks that we import, and it all depends on the cost of shipping at the time. So it's mostly tractor heads and what we call cabin chassis. A cabin chassis is basically a bare truck that somebody will put their own body onto. And so as a result, those are the trucks that we import and assemble here.
The TWE managing director is also uniquely placed to notice the early indicators that NARA has become a catalyst for added interest in the sector.
There's absolutely no doubt that there is massive increase in the need for transportation. We, as a group of companies, have we understand what NARA is going to do for Jamaica, and everything that's being done in NARA is obviously going to have to be transported at some point in time, whether it be the concrete mixers, whether it be the dump trucks, whether it be the tractor heads hauling containers. And yes, the answer is that we have seen people start to actually retool already.
Mapping that future is something we'll hear more about during a return trip, as well as what TWE's heavy-duty legacy is doing to lighten the load for anyone that wants to keep on trucking. And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
Thank you, Joel. Let's head now to a break. CVM News at 7 continues right after this.
KFC Summer Bucket. This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
Hello, students. As we begin this exciting new school year, I want to take a moment to welcome you all back and to remind you how important it is to do your part to keep yourselves and your friends safe this year. School is a place for learning, growing, and having fun with your friends. But remember, it's also a place where you need to stay alert and look out for each other. Here are a few simple tips to help keep you safe. Be aware of your surroundings when traveling. Keep your phones, technological devices, and money out of sight. Walk in groups. Avoid isolated paths and be cautious of strangers. Always inform inform your parents or guardians of your whereabouts. If you're experiencing bullying or if you see others being bullied, report it to your parents or teachers. If something about a situation doesn't feel right, or if someone makes you uncomfortable, trust your instincts and tell a trusted adult. And remember, if you ever need help, or if you know a friend or a classmate who does, you can always call us at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency on our 211 Child Abuse Hotline. We're here for you. Have a fantastic school year. Stay safe and take care of each other.
Welcome back. It's time now for a look at what's happening overseas. We begin with news in the region. Anger mounts in Haiti as the attack on a farming community shows power held by gang collection, leaving 47 people dead in the community near Port-au-Prince. France 24 has the details.
So controlling this area for the gangs would give them a real footprint outside the capital. There are other zones in the provinces of Haiti where they do have strongholds, but this would extend their reach on a vital location. And the terrain there is very difficult to fight back against the gangs. That's what we saw when we were there. So it's hilly, there's vegetation, there's often mist and cloud. So it's easy for the gang fighters to hide, and it's difficult to spot, even though the Haitian police have been supplied with drones to try and see attacks coming. Clearly, the equipment wasn't adequate, and the gangs were able to surprise them with this major attack.
Why is it so difficult for authorities to rein in this gang violence?
Well, it is across several different areas, and they are very, very powerful. There's a huge coalition of different gangs. It's Vivant Sam. And they have weapons which Haitian police do not have. There's a huge flow of illegal weaponry coming from various countries, notably from the United States, and often, war weapons, automatic weapons.
Now to international news. Canada announces retaliatory tariffs of up to 50% on hundreds of U.S. goods following the United States tariff imposement. Reuters has more. And finally, a strike by nurses has disrupted health services in government hospitals across Kenya as workers demand better pay and improved working conditions.
Respond. And today we are in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way. Today I'm announcing that Canada will match the United States tariffs dollar for dollar, rate for rate. Effective September 8, Canada will impose counter tariffs of up to 15, 25, or 50% on $27.6 billion in imports from the United States of America. For each product, our tariff would match the American tariff on the same type of Canadian good. Canada must respond, and today we are in a proportion.
It's time now for a break, but stay with us. Sports on the other side with Jordan Fort.
In business, you only get one chance to make a first impression. A poor hygiene experience can quickly escalate to a PR nightmare. Don't let this be your